force while flying. Now, the next report brings you a closer look at the situation in West Asia.
The most important battle may not have been decided by missiles that hit their targets. It may have been decided by the missiles America had to fire. During the final stages of the US-Iran conflict 2 weeks ago, Iranian forces changed how they attacked American bases. Waves of drones and ballistic missiles were combined with more difficult flight profiles, forcing American air defense crews to react repeatedly. And then came a remarkable claim. Iran's Revolutionary Guards said some of its missiles can now change course during flight, using guidance systems to alter their trajectory and bypass air defense systems. Tehran says the capability was used during the recent conflict. Missiles change course mid-air using on-board guidance systems, aerodynamic control surfaces like fins and wings, and thrust vectoring to alter their flight path dynamically. This maneuverability helps them evade enemy air defenses, avoid the incoming interceptors, and hit their targets with overwhelming force. The tactic forced American forces in the Gulf to expend scarce interceptor missiles. Iran also refined its use of drones and missiles as a combined attack. Drones could force defenders to engage, missiles could follow. In June, Iran launched waves of drones and missiles against 3 U.S. bases in Jordan. One later strike on July 17 hit a housing unit at a U.S. base, reportedly killing 3 American service members. After heavy fighting over the last 5 months, the U.S. forces have severely depleted their arsenal. Reuters reported that the U.S. Army had used virtually all of its highly accurate long-range missiles during the 5-month conflict. Experts say that the Iranian forces are closely studying another war. In Ukraine, Russia has been using combinations of ballistic and cruise missiles to distract Ukrainian air defenses, and then rushed in drones. The effect has been deadly and devastating. The same tactic has been applied by Iran while taking on a much bigger adversary. IRGC now says that Iranian forces must be able to expand their operations and carry out missions far beyond Iran's borders.
Whenever the situation demands and the order is issued, we must be capable of extending operations into enemy territory and conducting missions far from our own land. These are the characteristics of an offensive doctrine that must be realized. The IRGC is now tasked with achieving this readiness and developing the capability to execute such operations at the appropriate time.
No one thought that Iran could resist in this way against America, with the Israeli regime accompanying it and the support of many other countries, including all Western countries and some other countries that we all know, and not bow its head and ultimately force the enemy to ask for negotiations.
The rhetoric from Iran is rising. That doesn't mean Iran defeated America's military. It means Tehran exposed a different vulnerability. A missile can cost less than the interceptor needed to stop it. Multiply that across hundreds of launches, and the defender faces a brutal choice: keep firing expensive interceptors or accept greater risk. The US president, who has claimed repeatedly that Iranian military has been completely destroyed, now says that it is the US which has complete control over the Strait of Hormuz.
We have total control over the Hormuz Strait right now. They don't have control. We have total control. We own it. And at some point, maybe they'll do something and then they get blown away. But right now, we're in a very good position. We have a country that has been the bully of the Middle East for 50 years. It's really 51 if you think about it, right? We've been saying 47 for 4 years. And they're no longer the bully of the Middle East.
Iran has been attacked by the most powerful weapons, by the world's most powerful military. The aim was to cripple the Iranian military. But Iran continues to strike back with fire and fury. Most of Iran's missiles and launchers were hidden in underground facilities heavily bombed by US and Israeli forces. Iran later restored many sites and resumed attacks, disrupting shipping in the Strait of Hormuz and threatening US troops in the region. Now, more than 2 weeks later, the missiles are silent. The bombing has halted, but the strategic pressure remains. Iran has demonstrated what it can do with massed missile and drone attacks. America has demonstrated how much ammunition such a campaign can consume, and if the fighting returns, the next battle may be decided not only by who can launch more missiles, it may be decided by who can afford to stop them.
The war in the region may have paused, but for thousands of American soldiers, it hasn't. Sailors aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln have been deployed for 9 months now, and the families say that most of them are suffering from traumatic brain injuries. The next report tells you more about the crisis on board the USS Abraham Lincoln. Take a look.
The carrier looks unstoppable from a distance. Gray hull, massive flight deck, fighter jets, helicopters, powered by 2 massive nuclear reactors. It is a floating air base, an absolute symbol of power. But inside, a different story is bleeding through. Some sailors have reportedly tried throwing themselves into the sea. Basic supplies are running short, even the toilets aren't functioning. Life on America's giant Abraham Lincoln aircraft carrier is increasingly difficult as the Iran war drags on. American military news outlets reported that families of these sailors raised concerns about mental health aboard the ship. American lawmakers are also raising sharp questions. Senator Ruben Gallego calls for to investigate the reported alarming conditions. Another Democratic Senator, Richard Blumenthal, is aghast at the shortages of basic supplies. California lawmaker Mike Levin questions mission clarity.
So I want to be clear that I don't expect for an aircraft carrier to be the Holiday Inn, right? I don't expect for it to be a luxury lifestyle. Our Marines and our sailors, they are the best of the best. They sign up for hard duty. But we also should expect basic habitability. We should expect running water and clean drinking water, enough food to eat, working plumbing, the basics. Because when you don't have the basics and you think about the needs of the warfighter, it's not just about having enough weapons or the right kinds of weapons. It's also about basic quality of life. Basic readiness requires that you have enough to eat. It requires that you have working plumbing.
Thousands of U.S. military members are aboard the aircraft carrier for more than 250 days. It's not a peacetime deployment. Their deck is humming with the takeoff of fighter jets one after another. Then there is always the threat of an Iranian or Houthi missile heading right for the ship. Sailors have been away for months. They have lived through long patrols, high pressure, cramped quarters, and the constant hum of war readiness. For many, there is no real off switch. U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth stepped up to dismiss reports of utter misery aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Completely misrepresented. Listen, we make sure at every ship, every crew, every captain has everything we can provide them at every single moment. Some deployments are longer than others, and I have more respect and gratitude for those sailors than anybody. What they do in those high seas and those austere conditions with less port calls, it's incredible.
The Pentagon tried to hide the crisis, but their panic became undeniable. On the exact day Hegseth claimed everything was under control, naval orders confirmed an emergency swap. The USS George Washington is steaming towards West Asia to relieve the exhausted American soldiers on board the Abraham Lincoln. Across the Persian Gulf, Tehran is gloating. Iranian commanders openly declare they are ready to outlast Donald Trump's entire presidency and wait out the next occupant of the White House.
Iran may have lost some of its regional ties and powers. Its regional allies may have been weakened. We're talking about Hezbollah or the fall of the Assad regime in Syria. But Iran hasn't lost its strategic reach. It looks like it's rebuilding its so-called axis of resistance with concentration on countries like Iraq and Yemen. We tell you more.
Iran's axis of resistance is changing, but it is far from collapsing. The network of Iran-backed groups that once stretched across Iraq, Syria, Lebanon and Yemen has taken heavy blows since October 7, 2023. Hezbollah has been severely weakened. Iran's land corridor through Syria has been disrupted, and the fall of Bashar al-Assad has removed one of Tehran's most important regional allies. But Iran is now adapting. Iraqi Shiite militias and the Houthis in Yemen have emerged as two of the most important pillars of this reconfigured axis. The scale of that coordination was highlighted by the July 29 joint US-Saudi strikes in Iraq. Alongside Iraqi militia fighters, at least 5 Iranian Revolutionary Guards and a Houthi fighter were reportedly killed. 3 components of Iran's regional network, Iraqi militias, the IRGC and the Houthis, had been brought together on the same battlefield. And the geography of this new axis matters. In the Gulf, Iran has the Strait of Hormuz, a critical choke point for global energy flows. And to the south, the Houthis have turned the Bab el-Mandeb into another pressure point. From the Red Sea to the Persian Gulf, Iran's allies can now threaten the cost of any direct confrontation with Tehran. The Houthis have also demonstrated their ability to target Israel, Saudi Arabia, and other regional interests. Iraq, meanwhile, has become a launchpad for attacks on US positions and interests across the region. But this is not simply a network of groups taking orders from Tehran. These actors retain their own interests and priorities. What is changing is the degree of coordination. Iran appears to be moving towards a more integrated model, with these groups training together, strengthening operational ties, and coordinating their political and military moves. The result is a more decentralized but potently more resilient axis of resistance. And for Tehran, the objective is clear. Even if individual allies are weakened, the network itself must survive and continue to keep pressure on Israel, the United States, and their regional allies.
Saudi Arabia's oil flow is simply disappearing from sites, as tankers are switching off their tracking systems to avoid Houthi attacks. With the Houthis now targeting shipping and oil infrastructure for Saudi Arabia, it looks like a growing pressure is being applied on a global energy supply route. Take a look.
Houthis are unleashing fire and fury in the Red Sea. In the latest, Houthi strikes killed at least 6 people and wounded 10 others in a double-tap strike on a cargo vessel in the Bab al-Mandeb Strait. Yemen's transport ministry said 3 Pakistani nationals and 1 Indonesian national, along with 2 troops, were killed after the Houthis fired 3 ballistic missiles at the commercial ship. The Houthis have declared a maritime blockade against Saudi Arabia and have since claimed attacks on Saudi-linked tankers, the Yanbu oil hub, and most recently, the Aramco refinery in Jazan. The result is a growing shadow over Saudi oil exports. Shipping analysts say recent loadings at Yanbu have been conducted in the dark with tankers operating without continuous automatic identification system tracking. Which in simple terms means that Saudi is hiding its oil tankers from the Houthis, and that is making it harder for traders, OPEC, and the International Energy Agency to determine just how much Saudi crude is actually moving. And the estimates are varying widely. Vortexa puts Yanbu loadings at 2.38 million barrels per day last week, while Kepler estimated just 1.78 million. At the same time, Saudi Arabia appears to be moving more crude northward through the Red Sea, the Suez Canal, and Egypt's Sumaid pipeline. Loadings at Sidi Karir surged to a record 2.17 million barrels per day last week, with around 90% estimated to be Saudi crude. But the security risks are rising. Traffic through the Bab al-Mandeb has fallen sharply. War risk insurance costs have jumped, and tanker operators are changing their sailing strategies. The latest Houthi attack on Jazan has only deepened those concerns. And this comes as the wider region remains caught in the US-Iran war, with Iran also holding out conditions for reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia has signed a defense pact with Turkey and Pakistan, pledging collective response to any attack. But even after the pact, Saudi ships have been under Houthi attacks. The defense agreement hasn't till now translated into a solid military or diplomatic response. With Hormuz and Bab al-Mandeb both under pressure, the question now is not just how much oil is moving, but how much of it can still move safely.
Settler attacks is surging in the West Bank as Jewish extremists are attacking Palestinians at a dangerous rate. New reports suggest that nationalistic crimes have increased to 63% in Israel. On another side, another deadly crisis is unfolding in Gaza, where cancer patients are now dying 2 to 3 times more than pre-war rate. Take a look.
The occupied West Bank is reeling from surging Israeli settler violence. Settler attacks are increasing by the day as Palestinians live under fear in their own homes. The numbers from the occupied West Bank are stark. Israel's Khan broadcaster, citing security establishment figures, reported 660 settler attacks in the first 6 months of this year.
Since January 21, 2026, the settlers established an outpost close to the house, around 600 meters. Since that day, we have been subjected to daily attacks by settlers during the day and night, and harassment on the road. They tried to cut off our water and electricity networks many times. We fix it and they recut it again 2 days later, as well as attacking the workers who come to do the maintenance work, whether from the municipal council or volunteers, in case the municipality did not get a coordination.
That is up from 405 during the same period last year. A 63% surge. Israeli security bodies classified these incidents and offenses as nationalistic crime, a category that includes what they describe as terrorist activity. Attacks targeting Israeli security forces have also risen by 50%, with 45 incidents recorded so far this year. The human cost has risen sharply also. 140 Palestinians have been wounded and 6 killed in settler violence in the first half of this year. Last year, 82 were wounded and none were killed during the same period. And the figures do not even include July, when around 100 more incidents were reported. A video released on August 10th shows Jewish settlers and men dressed in Israeli army uniform holding a prayer outside a Palestinian home in the West Bank village of Kasra, where settlers have trapped Palestinian residents.
The settlers are focusing on this area too much, especially Kusra. It is surrounded by 5 settlements, and these settlers are very fierce. They besieged this house, the house of Qusay Abu Rida. A whole family lives in this house. They have been besieged for 5 days without food or drinks. Even the foreign volunteers are not allowed to bring them food and drinks.
Israel's military said it had sent more troops to the village where settlers have trapped Palestinian families inside their homes. A siege the Palestinians say is aimed at forcefully displacing them from their land. But while violence surges in the occupied West Bank, Gaza is battling another crisis. Gazan doctors say cancer patients are now dying at 2 to 3 times the rate seen before the war. The territory's only specialized cancer facility was destroyed last year by Israel, which said its forces had found a Hamas tunnel running beneath the hospital. That has left an estimated 17,000 Gazans with cancer without a local facility for chemotherapy or other advanced treatment. For those who need to leave Gaza, access to treatment abroad remains highly restricted. Israel says medical evacuations are coordinated with the World Health Organization and require approval from a receiving country, as well as security screening. The result, according to Gaza doctors, is a crisis where patients are not only fighting cancer, they are also fighting to reach the treatment that could keep them alive.
That's all we have for you on this episode of the West Asia Post. I will see you next week with a brand new lineup, always bringing you the most recent updates, news, and ground reports from West Asia. I'm your host, Radi Francis, signing off from Beirut, Lebanon. For more global news, keep on watching WION, World is One.
French football turns the page. Zinedine Zidane is the new head coach of Les Bleus. The French Football Federation has officially named Zidane as successor to Didier Deschamps, who steps down after 14 years in charge. For France, this is more than an appointment. It's the return of a national icon. Zidane was the heartbeat of France's 1998 World Cup triumph, scoring twice in the final against Brazil. He went on to win the Ballon d'Or the same year and led Les Bleus to Euro glory in 2000. As a manager, Zidane delivered an unprecedented 3 straight Champions League titles with Real Madrid. Now, the man who gave France its greatest footballing memory takes charge of its future. A national hero is back home, this time in the dugout. French football turns the page. Zinedine Zidane is the new head coach of Les Bleus. The French Football Federation has officially named Zidane as successor to Didier Deschamps, who steps down after 14 years in charge. For France, this is more than an appointment. It's the return of a national icon. Zidane was the heartbeat of France's 1998 World Cup triumph, scoring twice in the final against Brazil. He went on to win the Ballon d'Or the same year and led Les Bleus to Euro glory in 2000. As a manager, Zidane delivered an unprecedented 3 straight Champions League titles with Real Madrid. Now, the man who gave France its greatest footballing memory takes charge of its future. A national hero is back home, this time in the dugout.
Hello, you're watching Race to Power, your primetime stop of the day's biggest political stories. I'm Shreya Upadhyay. With me is Eric Njoka. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Shreya, and namaste.
Well, up ahead, we are asking whether Donald Trump can manage to get out of the Iran war with more economic sanctions, because the US president is now resorting to the last option, and that is financial warfare. But Iran remains unfazed.
We also tell you how more than 50 Muslim and Christian leaders have signed an interfaith peace accord in Abuja, Nigeria, after President Trump called Nigeria a disgraced country.